Welcome to Lesson 8, AI for Research and Decision Making. In this chapter, we use AI to move faster from raw information to clear, defensible choices while keeping human judgment in control. Professional life constantly requires research and decisions under time pressure. The risk is not lack of information, it is overload, missed factors, and decisions that are hard to explain later. A structured AI-supported process reduces these problems without removing accountability. The recommended workflow has 5 steps. First, define the exact question and the criteria that matter. Second, gather the relevant sources or notes and feed them to the model. Third, extract key findings, risks, and assumptions. Fourth, build a comparison table or an executive brief. Fifth, review the output carefully and make the final decision as a human. Core prompts you should keep in your library. Document analysis. Role. You are a senior analyst. Context. Here is the document or excerpt. Objective. Extract the main findings, risks, open questions, and recommended next actions. Constraints. Stay strictly within the provided text. Do not invent data. Format. Numbered findings, then risks, then open questions, then suggested actions. Option comparison. Role. You are a neutral business analyst. Context. We must choose between these options against these criteria. Objective. Evaluate each option and produce a clear comparison. Constraints. Remain balanced and evidence-based. Format. Simple table followed by a short recommendation paragraph with rationale. Risk and assumption extraction. Ask the model to list explicit and implicit assumptions, plus the main risks if those assumptions are wrong. This surfaces hidden weaknesses early. Executive decision brief. Request a one-page style summary that states the question, the options, the key trade-offs, the recommendation, and the main residual risks. Ideal for sharing with stakeholders. Source synthesis. When you have multiple documents or notes, ask for a unified view that highlights agreements, contradictions, and gaps. Quality rules. Always verify important numbers, names, and claims against the original sources. Watch for plausible but invented details. Keep findings clearly separated from recommendations so the decision maker can see the evidence. Save every strong prompt version in the analysis and decisions folders of your prompt library. Practical example. You need to decide between 3 vendors. You paste the proposals and your criteria into the comparison prompt. The model returns a clean table and a short recommendation. You check the scores against the actual documents, adjust 2 ratings, and present the brief to the team. The discussion becomes faster and more focused. Common mistakes. Asking the model to decide without giving clear criteria. Accepting recommendations without checking the underlying evidence. Mixing findings and opinions in the same paragraph. These are easy to avoid once the workflow is habitual. Exercise. Take one real decision you face this week. Write the question and criteria, run the appropriate prompts, review the output, and produce a short decision brief. Save the prompts that worked. After 3 real uses, the system will feel natural and reliable. You now have a complete, lightweight process for research and decision support. Combine it with your prompt library, meeting system, and email templates for a full professional toolkit. Thank you for your attention. Let us expand with more practical depth and additional patterns so the lesson reaches full professional utility. Detailed walkthrough, multi-document synthesis. You have 3 reports on the same topic. You paste the key sections and ask for a synthesis that shows points of agreement, points of disagreement, data gaps, and the overall implication for your decision. The model produces a structured view that would have taken hours to build manually. You then verify the most important claims and adjust the summary. Detailed walkthrough, decision matrix. You define 4 criteria with weights. You feed the options and ask for a scored matrix plus a short narrative. After checking the scores against source material, you have a transparent artifact that stakeholders can challenge and improve. The decision becomes collective and documented instead of opaque. Handling uncertainty. When information is incomplete, instruct the model to label confidence levels and to list what additional data would change the recommendation. This prevents false precision and keeps the process honest. Bias awareness. AI can amplify the framing you give it. Always test the opposite framing. Ask what the strongest case against the current recommendation would be. This simple counterprompt improves the quality of the final choice. Integration with previous lessons. Store research and decision templates in the analysis_research and decisions_strategy folders of your prompt library. After meetings that produce decisions, link the decision brief back to the meeting summary so the chain of reasoning stays visible. When not to rely on AI. High-stakes legal, medical, or safety decisions still require domain experts and formal processes. Use AI for structuring and speed, never as the final authority in regulated or irreversible contexts. Measurement. Track how long it used to take to prepare a decision brief versus the new workflow. Most knowledge workers recover 1 to 3 hours per significant decision. More importantly, the quality and defensibility of the reasoning usually improve. Advanced tip. Maintain a short decision log of past briefs and outcomes. Periodically ask the model to review a set of past decisions and surface patterns in what worked or failed. This turns individual analyses into organizational learning. Final exercise expanded. Select one upcoming decision that matters. Apply the full 5-step workflow, produce the brief, share it with at least one colleague for challenge, and record the final choice and rationale. Save the prompts and the brief. Repeat with the next 2 decisions. After 3 cycles, the method becomes part of your professional standard. You now possess a practical, scalable approach to research and decision-making with AI. Use it consistently and both speed and quality of choices will rise. Thank you for your attention. Final practical recommendations to make the system durable and professional. Link every strong research and decision template to the correct folders in your prompt library. Analysis_research and decisions_strategy. Keep templates and refined subfolders so the masters stay clean while real improvements are captured. When you later connect automations, you can trigger a research summary from a new document upload or a decision brief from a completed meeting summary. Always keep the human review gate before any output is shared externally or used for formal decisions. Start this week with one real decision that currently feels heavy. Write the question and criteria clearly, run the prompts, challenge the output, and produce a short brief. The first cycle teaches more than any amount of theory. This concludes Lesson 8 on AI for research and decision-making. You now have a complete workflow, core prompts, quality safeguards, and a clear practice plan. Integrate it with the rest of the series and your daily decisions will become faster, clearer, and easier to defend. Thank you for your attention. Additional implementation notes to complete this chapter at full professional depth. How to brief the model correctly for research. Always start with the decision question in one sentence, then list the criteria in priority order, then provide only the sources that matter. This sequence prevents the model from wandering and produces a brief you can actually use. Worked example, hiring or vendor choice. Write the question. Which option best meets our needs in the next 90 days? List criteria such as cost, time to value, risk, and support quality. Paste the relevant excerpts, run the comparison prompt, challenge the result with a counterprompt asking for the strongest case against the recommended option. Review the numbers, then write the one-page brief for stakeholders. Worked example, strategy choice. You are choosing between 2 market approaches. Ask first for a synthesis of the evidence. Then ask for assumptions and what would falsify each approach. Then request a recommendation with residual risks. The sequence keeps the analysis honest and easier to defend in a meeting. Document hygiene. When sources are long, work section by section rather than pasting everything at once. After each section, ask for a short extract of findings only. At the end, request a unified brief. This preserves focus and reduces the chance of missed details. Team use. Share the same criteria template with colleagues so every decision brief looks familiar. Store the approved templates in the analysis_research and decisions_strategy folders. After each real decision, save the refined prompt and a short note of what changed. The library improves with every cycle. Your action for the next 10 days. Apply this workflow to one real decision. Produce the brief, share it with one colleague for challenge. Record the final choice. Then apply the same method to the next 2 decisions. After 3 cycles, the process becomes your professional standard. This completes the 10-minute version of Lesson 8 on AI for research and decision-making. Use the workflow, verify the facts, and keep the final decision human. Thank you for your attention.